So, I've just finished watching the Series 1 finale of the Book of Boba Fett. So, yeah, this was a pretty interesting finale, in my opinion. Not the best episode, in my opinion, because there were some questionable aspects about it, which I'm going to say. So yeah, but it's time to review it. So, yeah, join me, Luke and Prime, and my best friend, Oppo, Ranscisis, as we review the episode together. So, yeah, anyway, cue the intro.
Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Alright guys, I'm going to Alexander share his thoughts on today's episode first, so I'll let him talk, and yeah, and if you haven't already guys, please consider subscribing to his YouTube channel, so I'll put a link in the description below for you guys to go subscribe and go support his channel, so yeah, anyway, take it away, Oppo.
Okay guys, I have very little time today, so I'm gonna be real quick with you. Okay, so first of all, what is the point of this show? I don't understand. Let me explain what I mean by this. Episode may have been great. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's too great. I preferred the previous one much more. But at the end of the day, it ends up with Boba giving up the throne to the speeder bikers, who are, in my opinion, the worst characters of all. And he pretty much gives up the throne. He says, "Take it. We. This isn't the job for us." So what was the point of him ever taking the throne in the first place? Was the show all just a filler? Is that what's implied? Is that what it means? That the show was just a filler? And okay, yeah, he takes over the throne, but it's all for nothing because he gives it up at the end. So you could not watch the show, and we're back right where we started. He takes over the throne, he gives up the throne. It's ridiculous to me. Secondly, I did enjoy that they confirmed that the Pikes did indeed massacre the Tuscans, which I felt was obviously the proper way to go. Cad Bane I enjoyed more in this episode. Maybe it's because, I don't know, maybe it's because I think they might have actually changed his skin color to make it darker after last episode. Or it's the lighting in most of the scenes he appears in, because in the bar scene, for example, he looks much more accurate to how he is supposed to look and his species is supposed to look. I really enjoyed writing the Rancor. Its size was massive. I love the cinematography and how it was shot to represent how massive the Rancor actually is. I enjoyed the standoff between Boba and Cad Bane. I enjoyed their interactions. It was very well choreographed, well filmed, but it was quite short, which may have been good. It reminded me of the Darth Maul Ben Kenobi fight, but on the other hand, I don't know why they would bring back Cad in last episode and just kill him off straight away. I think that's a bit anticlimactic, and I wish he survived, because I think it's too rushed. Bring him in last episode, a few scenes this, and now he's dead. For people who barely know this character and didn't have that excitement, if they just find him out about him right now, that would have been very anticlimactic. They would have been like, we barely know anything about him, and now they just kill him off barely after they put him back. Some very bad comedic elements, unfortunately for my opinion. Actually, I enjoyed most of them, but some of them went on for way too long. Like the Major Domo, who I actually really liked. I started disliking him in the beginning of the show, but nowadays that he's on our side, I like him more. And he was funny, but the joke had no music to accompany it, nothing. It was just him talking for 3 minutes. Basically, I was educated on Coruscant, he was talking about his Leku, he was talking about his accent, and he was talking to the Pikes, he was making all of these dramatic speeches, and it just went on for way too long. It's definitely trying to get a laugh out of us, because it's trying to he's so funny, he's speaking to him in this way, but it made me laugh, yes, I admit, but it dragged on for way too long, and there were some MCU-like jokes, like, for example, when Pelimoto arrives, "I can't hear you," and then, turn around. Speaking of which, those droids looked a lot like gigantic droidecas. It was fantastic, but, and I really liked their design and their concept, and how nothing could penetrate, their shields barely. So I like that. And that reminded me of how we had the main antagonists, like this army of dark troopers in Mandalorian finale. Now we have these droids. But that's all I can say for now. So thank you. Goodbye. I have to go. I have to run. Bye.
Alright, so it's my turn to the episode. So yeah, now, like I said at the beginning, this wasn't, shall we say, a perfect episode in my opinion, because there was many questionable moments, which I'll get to, so yeah. So the episode begins, this chapter is of course called In the Name of Honor, and it begins where Boba Fett's forces are patrolling Mos Espa, and also, we also get to see a scene with Cad Bane working with the Pikes to plan to take down Boba, and yeah. Unfortunately, we do get an appearance by the biker gang, and yeah, I really can't stand those characters, guys. Seeing their presence just really annoys me, and yeah, like, it was pretty disappointing to see, and unfortunately, guys, we do see their 1980s Power Ranger knockoff bikes, which really annoyed me again. And what's sad, guys, is the bikes appear the most prominently in this episode, more than episode 3, and I didn't like that at all. It was disappointing to see more of it. Like, I don't want to see this because it's not Star Wars. Like, it was just really questionable how they wanted to include more of these bikes, really. Like, include the characters, but not the bikes. Like, really? So, yeah. And then after that, we then see another scene which takes place at Peli Motto's hangar, where, well, an X-Wing arrives, and it's Grogu who is flying it with R2-D2. And he's wearing the chain outfit that Mando gave him. It looks a lot like Mithril from Lord of the Rings a little bit, you know, this chain outfit he's wearing. And he goes with her to be fed. Some sort of, like, you know, worm creatures. So yeah, she knows how to look after him, definitely. Then after this, guys, we then get a scene where Cad Bane and the Pikes come from Boba outside the sanctuary, who is with Fennec and Mando. And then other crime families have betrayed Boba and they attack his soldiers throughout the city. So they attack. Unfortunately, his 2 Gamorrean guards get killed because they get pushed off a cliff by a gang. And Chrysanthemum gets beaten, which was pretty heartbreaking to see. So poor Chrysanthemum. And yeah. He then learns from Cad Bane that it was actually the Pikes that killed his Tusken tribe and framed the gang. So yeah. This was a pretty cool plot twist, which revealed that the Pikes killed them, and yeah, and the Cad Bane was working all this time, yeah. And Fennec helps out the cyborgs nearby, but yeah, it was just really annoying to see those bikes again. I just couldn't stand seeing them, like, it was just so cringy. So while she's helping them, Boba and Mando hide, and they order the Major Domo to the mayor to negotiate with Pikes, and this was another questionable moment, in my opinion, guys, where the Major Domo said, like, a very long speech by Boba to the Pikes, and yeah, it dragged on way too long, in my opinion. It took away the entertainment, and it annoyed me a little bit. But luckily, though, it was done as a way to, like, divert the attention of the Pikes to allow Boba and Mando to fight them. It was a pretty cool fight scene, but eventually they do get outnumbered by them. But then all of a sudden, they get reinforcements being the Freetown citizens. So yeah, and they arrive on, like, some like, you know, speeder vehicle with a cannon, and they help them. And then unfortunately though, they can't celebrate just yet, like Mando himself says, because 2 big droids coming, which are called Scorpion droids. They're like big Annihilator style droids with, like, turrets, and yeah, and like Spider at the bottom, like Scorpion sort of stuff, like Spider or whatever. And they attack them, and they've got a very powerful shield as well, which is impervious to weaponry, so like gunfire, and also even, you know, blades, like, you know, lightsabers or dark sabers. So yeah. However, while Mando is trying to fight it, Boba goes to get his own reinforcement, which is his Rancor. So he gets his Rancor. He's able to use it to attack the droids and to briefly damage their shield so much enough that it allows Mando to get through with a darksaber and then attack it from the inside. And then he allows the Rancor to finish it off. And so yeah, and the Rancor then takes down the other droid as well, because there was 2 of them. And then, however, Cad Bane shows up, and the Rancor tries to attack Cad Bane, but Cad Bane scares him off by using his flamethrower. So yeah, poor Rancor, and it causes Boba to fall off it. And they then have a pretty intense conversation, which was pretty cool, guys. I like how he mentioned that, you know, Boba's no longer a boy anymore, and Cad Bane even mentions Django, which is pretty cool. I did like that. And then they have a gun duel, and unfortunately, Boba gets shot by Cad Bane, so yeah, he does lose the gun duel. But when he gets knocked down, Cad Bane approaches him to try and finish him off, but then Boba's able to take him off guard by using his gaffy staff to trip him up, and then he stabs him. So yeah, he kills Cad Bane, guys. Like, wow. I think that fight was probably one of the very few best highlights of the episode, in my opinion, alongside the fight scenes. But yeah, because like I said, guys, there were many questionable aspects of the episode. Now, meanwhile, because Rancor has been, abandoned by its driver, the Rancor is now on a rampage. But luckily, after, unfortunately, it does injure Mando, Grogu's able to put it to sleep and calm it down. So it ends the battle. And meanwhile, in Mos Eisley, Fennec is able to take down the Pike boss, the mayor, and the other crime lords that are there. And while it was a cool scene to see her putting her skills into action, guys, I kind of wish it was Boba who did that, because I like to consider the Pike leader to be the main villain, because it appeared the most prominently in the series. And yeah, I was hoping that he'd be the one to take them down. Like, I was hoping he'd kick down the door and then shoot them, but Fennec instead did it with her skillful way. So yeah, I was hoping Boba would do it, but instead it was Fennec. Then after this, guys, unfortunately, we do see the biker gang again and their stupid bikes. And what I also didn't like was how Boba appeared to be giving them the city. So, like, I'm thinking, really, Boba? Why are you doing this? Come on. Oh. And as the city of Mos Espa praises Boba, we then get a scene of Mando and Grogu flying away on his N1 starfighter. And Grogu asks him to go into hyperspace, at high speed, and then Mando says, all right, then, and yeah, they go at high speed, yeah. I think it was hyperspace, maybe, but yeah. And it was also nice to hear Mando's full theme as well, as he was flying into space as well, yeah. And then that was it, guys. That was the end of the episode, but not just yet, because after the credits, which have very nice artwork, by the way, like, as always, we then got a mid-credit scene where it's revealed that Cobb Vanth is actually being healed in a battle tank, guys. So thankfully, he has survived being shot by Cad Bane. And he gets healed. And it's revealed that the modifier who is monitoring him in the battle tank is about to give him cybernetic enhancements, apparently, because he had like some sort of like a tool in his hand about to use. Similar to what they used to help repair Fennec after she was wounded. So yeah, it's making me wonder what will happen. But yeah. To be honest, though, guys, I do not care about what this is setting up, because it's implied to be setting up Series 3 of Mandalorian, but as you guys know, I'm not watching Series 3 because, in my opinion, Series 2 perfectly closed the series for me, for Mandalorian, personally. And in fact, I consider, this scene featuring, Mando and Grogu flying away together as, like, their true ending, in my opinion, I think it calls the story really well. So, yeah. I don't really want to continue, and especially because of the way we treated Gina Carano as well, So yeah, like that's why I don't want to watch Series 3, but yeah, but nonetheless, though, this episode was really good. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, so yeah, and it was also really nice to see none other than Boba Fett actually make a proper appearance in this episode, guys, and not as like a silent cameo or not appearing at all, because that was my issue with previous episodes, being that, Boba didn't appear in episode 5, and he only had one scene in the previous episode and didn't talk, really, so yeah. So I'm glad he got to play Big Will in this episode, and was definitely one of the best highlights, in my opinion, and Tom Morrison did a great job playing him, but yeah. But it was really fun to watch this episode, guys, to see his scenes and him back in action at last, so yeah. But it wasn't the best episode. Like, I think, to be honest, my favorite episode is probably episode 2. Like, I thought episode 2 was really epic and really awesome. I really liked episode 2 a lot. And yeah. And the first episode was also a great start as well, absolutely. And yeah. But yeah. So guys, this is me reviewing the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 7 in the name of honour. So yeah, with Alexander reviewing as well. So yeah, thanks for reviewing the series again with me, Alexander. It's been really fun to review the series with you, and yeah, it's been really fun. And yeah, I can't wait to review future shows with you as well, yeah. So, you know, drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave in the comments what you guys thought of this episode of you, see your thoughts are on it. Also, be sure to join the team by pressing subscribe for more in the future. And if that's been, remember, you can join Peace Out, or you can in the description. And, oh yeah, please be sure to subscribe to us and like I told you to start the video. And may the force be with you always.